Brecksville was one of those areas that I could imagine myself living in as I was growing up, and now that I'm an adult, I could probably still see myself moving there one day. Let me show you a few of the reasons why it's still on my list. Now, my name's Sam Oler, and I'm a realtor in the greater Cleveland area, so if you're thinking about moving this way, feel free to reach out to me. All of my contact information is down in the description, but I'm gonna stick to today's topic, which is going to be Brecksville, Ohio. And in Brecksville, Ohio, you're about 15 miles south of Cleveland, and here you're going to be bordering Independence, Broadview Heights, and also Cuyahoga Valley National Park. Now, the city of Brecksville itself was founded in 1811, and it was incorporated as a village in 1921. And then by 1960, it was incorporated as an actual city in Ohio when it hit 5,000 residents. The city is actually a pretty decent size. It covers just over 19.5 square miles, so you have a lot of space to live here. But back in 1811, the original surveyors, Seth Payne and his family, settled there June 1811 and acted as the land agent for Colonel Breck. Now, while Colonel Breck never settled there, the city was named after himself, but his kids did end up settling there at some point, and it was largely an agricultural area until roads started getting paved and all of that construction started happening. The farms shifted out of Brecksville and started making room to make it a suburb. Post-World War II migration from Cleveland to the area suburbs, especially during the 1950s, contributed largely to Brecksville's growth, and by the year 2000, Brecksville had grown to just over 13,000 people. Now, as far as the prices of these homes, you're going to be sitting right around that $500,000 range, so it's a little bit more expensive than some of the other areas that surround Cleveland if you're going to want to live here. But the average home is sitting on the market for just about 20 days before it's getting scooped up. Hot homes are selling in about 6 days for about 5% above list price. And what a hot home is basically just something that's been newly renovated, or it's priced extremely well, bringing in a lot of attraction for buyers who want to move to the area. It's essentially a house that just causes a bidding war and drives the prices up. And just to put it into perspective, that 5% versus the average list price at $500,000 is $20,000 above what they are asking. So if you're getting into a multiple offer situation, expect to start to pay up if you want that turnkey house that is ready to go. Now, it doesn't mean that these houses are selling for more than they're worth. There just is a lot of demand for this area, even though it seems like it's relatively uncompetitive. Where you really start to run into problems is during that buying process when you have the appraisal done and the house comes back at a lower price versus what you're saying you're going to pay for it. That's when you know you're paying too much for the house. If that does happen, the bank's not going to lend you more money than the house is worth, so you're either going to have to drop the price or you're going to have to fork up the extra cash out of your own pocket if you want the house that bad. In my personal opinion, you don't want to jump into a super large negative equity right off the bat, but there are a few different options that you can take on as far as navigating that scenario goes. But I can help guide you through that decision to decide whether it's worth it or not for you to pay that extra money if you are in that situation. The majority of the time, I try to keep my clients out of it so that way they know they're making a good investment, and realistically it's very dependent on the certain deal that you're in. Now, the majority of the people who are moving to this Brecksville area are going to be from the greater Cleveland area, but there are a few different states that are contributing largely to the relocation to this area, and the top ones are going to be New York, West Virginia, and California. So realistically, people are moving to Brecksville from all different types of locations. It's not just one specific type of relocation that is happening. I would say it's a pretty large variety of the types of people that are moving here. Now, luckily in Ohio, there aren't too many climate factors that we really have to worry about. We don't get hurricanes, we don't get massive floods, there's no fires. Sometimes we get tornadoes, but those stay in the rural areas the majority of the time. So I would say the biggest worries that you're gonna have here are going to be related to the winter season as far as the safety of driving in the snow goes, and also storm season, as this area is located in a really largely wooded section of Cuyahoga County. So there's going to be a lot of trees that are going to be near these houses, and if a branch falls on it, that could pose to be a pretty big problem depending on the size of it. As far as the school system goes in Brecksville, Ohio, you are going to have a fantastic system that is offered to the students here. They're actually ranked number 488 in the nation and number 13 in Ohio according to US News. So I think a large part of the high property values is attributed to this and everything that the city has to offer. But this high school does couple together Brecksville and Broadview Heights, so you are going to have a larger community that is participating in this high school. As far as the sports that they offer for their students, in the fall you're going to have things like soccer, football, golf, cross country, cheer, tennis, and volleyball. In the winter you're going to have things like basketball, bowling, cheer, dance, gymnastics, hockey, swimming, and wrestling. And come spring, the students are going to have the opportunity to take part in baseball, lacrosse, softball, and track. Now the school does offer a lot of different opportunities as far as sports go for their students, and I wish I had this kind of opportunity while I was in school, because I would have probably ventured out to a little bit more besides just playing soccer. Not only do they have a ton of different sports to offer their students, but they've got over 50 extracurricular activities that are offered, so that way the students can keep busy after school even if they don't want to play a sport. Some of these different clubs that they have available are going to include things like academic challenge, art club, choir, band, film club, robotics, trivia, yearbook, and there's just so many more. But if you want some more information about all of that, you can go on their website and find out exactly what they have and get some more info about the curriculum as well. Now, if you're moving to the Brecksville area, besides your home, you're probably going to have a pretty high priority on what the jobs are. And there are actually about 40,000 different job openings in a certain radius around Brecksville, so you have a lot of opportunity as far as abundance goes for getting a job, depending on what your specialties are. And these jobs can range all the way up to $100,000, like I said, depending on what your specialty is. And on top of that, there probably are some additional opportunities if you've got some good connections to the area. Nowadays, Brecksville consists of about 13,000 people as far as the population goes. The majority of them are going to be working some sort of white-collar job that brings in about $140,000 annual household income. And honestly, it's a pretty even split between the residents and their education levels. You have some high school grads, you have some bachelor degrees, you have some doctorate degrees. It's actually a really nice mix compared to some of the other different parts of Cuyahoga County. Now, if you're living here, something that you're going to have to keep in mind is that you're probably going to need a car. Biking here is not super easy because it's pretty spread out, but as far as public transportation goes, I would say it's pretty much non-existent. It's not going to be super helpful in most cases, but who knows? I don't ride the bus very often because I'm one of those people who just own a car in the area. But here you're not going to have to pay for any sort of parking, and you're not going to have any sort of issues with not having a garage or a driveway or at least street parking. It's just one of those suburbs that have an abundance of space, so that way you don't really have to worry as a resident. As far as restaurants go in the Brecksville area, you're going to have a ton to choose from. Now, I don't have a ton of experience with the different ones that are located in this area. However, there is one that stands out to me that I really enjoyed that I went to recently, and that one is called Brew Wall. There, you're gonna have some amazing pizza, and there's also a wall with a bunch of taps on it, so it's more of a pay-as-you-go type of pour your own drink style. So that way you don't have to leave any tips. You also can just pour a quarter cup of whatever you want to try. That way you're not stuck with a full glass if you don't like it. It's basically just pay per ounce that you pour. Overall, it's some great food and a great atmosphere. Some of the other restaurants that I've heard that are great that I haven't yet to try are going to include different places like Creekside Restaurant and Bar, Valenti's Restaurant, and also Simon's Restaurant. I've been finding myself wanting more bar food lately, and I think that's just because I've been eating a little bit more clean now that I'm cooking my own meals. Whenever I have the opportunity to eat out, I've been wanting something that's a little bit more greasy and a little bit more of that style. As far as the different shopping that you have available, there's a bunch of different plazas available throughout the city, but you're probably going to do the majority of your shopping in the Brecksville Town Center. Over there, you're going to find different grocery stores like Mark's and Heinen's. And fun fact, while I was in high school, I worked at that Mark's for a whole 2 months every Sunday, stocking the shelves. And that was really short-lived because I ended up getting my job at the ski resort nearby here. And overall, that one was a little bit more fun and enticing for a high school student to take on rather than just stocking shelves every week. But over in that Brecksville Town Center, you're going to have a bunch of different boutiques, jewelry stores, coffee shops. So if you're going shopping in the area, you're not going to have to travel very far to get to the different retail stores that are available. Now, I hinted at the beginning of the video that I would still move to the Brecksville area today, and the main reason besides the community that they've built is just simply because of the proximity to the national park. I spend a lot of time hiking through the different metro parks within Cleveland, but I rarely make it out to the national park, and honestly, I don't really have a great reason why I don't make it out there. There's so much to do. There's a lot of different areas to explore. No matter if you want something that's a harder hike or you just simply want to have a picnic in the woods, there's perfect options for anyone. The other cool part about it is that there's so much to do that it changes so much throughout the seasons that it's just never going to be the same every time you go back. So it's one of those things that is incredibly hard to get bored with. If you're in the national park area, you should definitely hit up Brandywine Falls or Blue Hen Falls. Those are going to be the two bigger attractions that people come to see. But the Brecksville Reservation also has some cool sites as well. This is one of those areas that just is super fun because you have all of this stuff within a 10 to 15 minute drive, and it's very accessible for the people who live here. So that is why it is still making the list as potential places that I could see myself settling over time. Another thing that's extremely close to this Brecksville area is going to be our ski resort. And I say ski resort lightly. It's realistically just more of a large hill. However, having this area within a 15-minute drive makes winter so much more tolerable. Winter around here is very cold and very cloudy, so so it is not one of those things that is super easy to navigate unless you have something to do outside. Plus, getting that fresh air and a little bit of sunlight is extremely healthy for you, so it is the perfect opportunity to actually stay outside and have some fun during the winter. As far as other activities within Brecksville, you are going to have a golf course that's pretty good. You can go check out plays that are put on at the Brecksville Theater every so often. They offer a yearly Easter egg hunt for the kids in April. And then there's also the Brecksville Home Days, which is a 3-day festival with food, entertainment, and there's even a 5K that you could take part and run in. So with everything that Brecksville has to offer, it's really hard to turn down the opportunity to live here if you can afford it. If you're considering moving this way, feel free to reach out to me. All of my contact information is down in the description. And if you find yourself down there checking out that or my social media, definitely click that like button and subscribe before you go, because it's going to keep you up to date with everything that's happening in the Cleveland area. So with all that being said, I'm going to leave the video there. I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching.